Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for joining me. This is Lee with Lee's Trees, and today we're going to do an update and start a new project with our blue Atlas cedar. This is our original plant, our original parent tree here, and we were trying to do an air layer on it. Unfortunately, a strong wind blew it off the bench and it broke off, and so here's the top off of it here. I'm going to set that to the side for a moment. Set this out of the way, and I'll bring this in close. And even though I have been giving this a mist at least once a day and sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, every single day since the accident, you can see it's starting to brown and it's been losing a lot of needles recently. So I don't know how much of it is still going to live, if any of it. That's why while we're not giving up hope on it, you can see the writing on the wall with that one, unfortunately. So we're going to set that one off to the side. And I'll take a quick moment and show you. These are the cuttings, some of the other cuttings that I took at the same time that I was performing the air layer. And I have also been misting these every single day for months. You can see that they're actually doing a lot better. I don't know if any of them are rooting yet, but I have a strong suspicion that they are. They have not hardly lost any leaves and are still looking very green. Or blue, I should say. So hopefully those are going to continue to grow roots and survive and thrive. But again, they're too small to do much with at the moment, so we'll have to do something else with them later on. And that brings us back to our parent tree. And I'll try to zoom in a little here. Now, when I was performing the air layer on it, you can see that this branch sort of got pushed down. There's a little bit of a scar on the bark there, but that's okay. And it's going up against the edge of the tree. And I think that gives it a little bit of an interesting feature. So that's what I'm going to try and start my next project with right there. And we're going to get started with that in just a moment after we reset the camera for some dirty work. So as you see, I've set up for some dirty work here. So let's go ahead and get the tree out of the pot. Now I'm not going to work on the roots a whole lot, at least not too terribly much. I do want to expose the top a little bit. But I mostly want to just take off one side. Got a little piece there. And you'll see what I'm doing here very shortly. Now that we got most of the dirt out of there, I'm going to take off a lot of the roots here. Let's take off a little bit more. As I take it off, more soil falls out, so then we can take off a little bit more. Okay. A few big chunks of stuff in there, bark from their nursery mix. So there's our roots. Let me set that to the side for a moment. Now I have here a mix of cocoa coir and perlite, a standard mix to try to root, or what I use normally to try to root plants in, or cuttings in, I should say. And I've got a few wires here to tie my tree in. I'm going to set that to the side for a moment. Okay. I pre-moistened that just before we brought it in, so you can see it's still draining a little bit, but that's why I've got my mat here. So on the back side of this, I take a chopstick, another piece of wood. I'll just rough this up some. There we go. And get that cambium layer showing. Especially underneath this one particular root here. And we'll get a little roughed up on that side, a little over there. Maybe I need to use the scissors a tiny bit. There's a knob here where I had a branch that I had taken off. And can you guess what I'm going to do with this? If you're thinking I'm going to do a raft, you're correct. Or attempt to do a raft style with it. So I'm going to try to put that part down where I just got rid of the bark there to try to get some roots to come up. And I'm going to save this other branch here to help to try to get it to root as a sacrificial branch. I need to be careful I don't go too deep. I want to leave just the green and not get into the white part. Okay. Oh, so now let me get my rooting hormone here. Give that a good application. Now, when I tie this down here, I did grab a little bit of sphagnum moss and I pre-moistened that. And I'm going to set that down. And I'm going to add me a tiny bit of rooting hormone to it. A little bit of mycorrhiza. Okay. So I guess I'm going to have to try to take off a piece in here. Like a big knob of root. I want to get that to fit in my pot. There we go. So I got my wire to hold this down so that it stays in contact with the dirt and the sphagnum moss. And there it is. And make sure I get that sphagnum moss pushed up underneath there. Now let's give that an extra tighten or two. Let's see. Yeah. I got it tightened down, and we can get rid of our extra pieces here. Just going to push that down just so if put my hand in there, I don't stab myself too terribly bad, hopefully. So now, for my root ball, I'm going to try to keep using a little bit of the original nursery soil here. And eventually hopefully this will all be taken away, and I'll cut this off here just above where the graft is and get rid of the sacrificial branch. And then this branch hopefully is going to grow up and give us some interesting movement. Let me just make sure I get this packed in here real quick. Now, to ensure that this doesn't get washed away and kill the roots, because I want it to stay there, I grabbed an old pot that I'm going to sacrifice. Actually, do I want to... Yeah, that looks good. I say I'm just trying to do this temporarily. Just want to hold that on there to keep that little bit of soil from washing away from the roots, while this hopefully sprouts roots from the trunk here. So let me get everything cleaned up and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm back with my Blue Atlas Cedar project here. I'm sort of thinking this will end up being my front, left side, the back, the right side, and back to the front facing you. But for a moment, while I have the tree here, I should probably go ahead and get that to stand up. So let's see if I can do this. Just want to put a little hook there. Yeah, let me come to here. Okay. So I'm going to put my little hook on this branch here. And I'm not going to worry about coming all the way to the base of the tree. I am going to come up, or to the base of the branch is what I meant to say. But just come up to where it is and gently try to get this wire wrapped through all the little pieces here. I don't need to take it all the way up. That looks good. I just need to see if I can bend it. Oh, the other end popped off. Okay. There we go. So I've got my piece of wire anchored there. Oh, like I said, I just sort of stabbed myself a little with that piece of wire there. Let me see if I can bend it down more. Okay, that's better. So once again, I know it's hard to see the bend in the branch down there, but let me see if I can actually bring that up a tiny bit. Yeah. There we go. Well, maybe I should have left it alone. Oh no, there we go. That's what I wanted. There's, once again, this will be our front. Again, we've got a sacrifice branch there. Front, right side, to the back, to the left, and back to the front as it's facing you. Okay, I'm going to take it outside, give my roots here a good water. I'm going to try to figure out some way. I might end up just putting a big rock here to hold this piece of plastic on there to keep it from being blown off in the wind. I put it out in the sun and hopefully we'll get some roots growing from the top portion of the raft part there. Hello everyone. So it's the next day and I did realize that the way I put this in here, that these roots are just going to grow down into the rooting mixture, and I might not get any roots coming from the raft portion here. So what I have is some fabric. This is what you would put down like underneath mulch to stop weeds from growing up through it. So I'm just going to gently try to stuff this up under here a little bit. Now if I can lift up on the roots a tiny bit and see if I can, oh, I just pulled it all the way through. Okay. Anyway, I'm just going to try to gently, without causing too much of a mess, push that piece of fabric up under there. Maybe I need to do it this way. If I'd have thought about this the first time, I wouldn't be going through this mess. But I've never done a raft before, and I'm not 100% sure of any better way to do it. So, there. Okay, we've got that lifted up underneath of it, so hopefully the roots won't grow down from this part of it, and we'll get roots to grow from right there. So, again, let me get this soil picked up and packed in around here. Again, put this back on. I've got a, that's right, that's how I had it right there. I had a big rock sitting on it after we gave it a water yesterday. The soil's still a little bit damp, but I might go water it again just in case. But again, I wanted to take a moment and show that real quick rather than explaining it and saying I did it off camera. So there we go. Thanks for watching one last time. Please like and subscribe.